Gracias, Pedro, and thank you to the entire Alumni Society community for being here, for the team for making this epic experience, and shout out to them for really pivoting in this time and creating experiences for us to still connect. So we're here to talk about resilience and reinvention. And as you can see, my title for the topic is going from tech to tequila and all the pivots that involve that and the resilience it took to make some big changes in my career. And I do have tequila with me. I won't be having it until after this event, but this is about my journey from being a small business owner to joining the tech world at Google for 10 years and then pivoting to do my own thing. So I'm excited to share my story with you because so many of you watching have been a part of it. And that's what really drives me so much is how to help our community make our dreams come true and to reimagine what's possible for us. So I'm currently in Ventura, California, very close to where I grew up in Oxnard, and I'm part of a big Mexican-American family. And in our area, it's not a lot of big business and specifically not a lot of tech. And so growing up, I was surrounded by small business owners who inspired me so much. And over the years, my family and I decided to create our own tequila company called Tequila Alquimia. Alquimia is alchemy in Spanish. And it was a family project turned business. We did not think we'd end up in the spirits industry. My dad is now a member of the Alumni Society. He went to UC Berkeley for optometry school after having been born in Mexico, moved to the US and making his whole life here with us. And there came a time when it made sense for us to really spend more time on the rancho in Mexico where he was born. And we decided to start growing agave. So I grew up with this. This is something that I didn't realize was out of the norm. My mom and I designed the bottle. My sister found the font for the brand. It was all a family project turned business, like I said. And it was something that I had no idea would impact me so profoundly because I ended up going to college far away from home. I went to Harvard. So shout out to the Harvard alums here. Shout out to anyone who's first in their family, because that's my parents. They did that too. Shout out to people who were the first in their families to leave home. I was the first to leave California and went to school there and ended up landing a job at Google. And when I was there, I had imposter syndrome, like many of us have experienced before. And what helped me overcome it was when I realized that in marketing to small businesses with digital tools, that my experience as a small business owner was relevant because although the title of the talk is from tech to tequila, they really have been hand in hand. Now my day-to-day looks a little different. I left Google after 10 years this past July, but when I started at Google, I saw that the business products were meant to support small business owners. And I realized that there was a moment when I told my dad, Papi, we need a website. We need the basics. We need to be innovative. And then I sat at corporate tables and was the only woman of color often, or the youngest, or the only Latina. I'm sure many people here can relate. And I second guessed, like, am I supposed to be here? How will I add value to this big tech company, this big giant in Silicon Valley? And it's when I started speaking up more about the realities of having a small business, about when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't have time to think about analytics and advertising. You're trying to get the day-to-day done. And so I brought that perspective to the table, and it became so critical to my trajectory at the company. And as my title shared, what it highlighted was that I went from being an intrapreneur to an entrepreneur. And what does it even mean? People often ask me, what does being an intrapreneur mean? Well, I think of it as someone who has an entrepreneurial spirit and creates opportunities within a company, within an existing corporate structure, corporate or whatever size it may be. And so when I realized the value add that I could bring to the table by talking about my experience building Alquimia and the real perspective that I had as a small business owner with my parents and having to convince my dad to use technology, I realized that there was a lot of opportunity for people like me at the company to connect the dots, to make our products and services as a corporate company accessible to our community. And so the word access became everything to me. It became the way I do everything, and it's really been my mission since I started. And I thought, how can I help bridge the gap, that digital divide? And it's what I call the paradox of opportunity. I started framing this business opportunity by saying, we're the fastest growing demographic of small business owners. The fastest growing demographic, period. We buy more smartphones. We do all these things. We over-index in so many ways on the digital landscape and just as people. But how are we making sure that our community isn't left behind when it comes to use of technology, to grow our businesses, to advance our education and our nonprofit causes and so forth? So I found other people like me at the company who cared about this, about making sure our community wasn't left behind, and others like it, other diverse groups. So I co-founded Hola. which at the time stood for Hispanic Opportunities in Leadership and Advertising. We were working a lot with the sales teams. And then we changed the name to ending with advocacy, because we realized we were advocating for our community across so many dimensions of what Google does, from the ads world, small business stuff, to promoting Chromebooks and much more. And so I created 4 of my 5 roles I had at Google. So in a decade, I had 5 different capacities and was able to create 4 from scratch because of this. So it was a great opportunity to align what I love, my sense of passion and purpose, and overcoming challenges to get there sometimes. A lot of this work didn't happen easy overnight, but it allowed me to have an entrepreneurial experience at the company. And I founded the multicultural marketing team. So I'll skip past the 5 years doing that. That was really rewarding, and I'm so grateful for the experience. But I kept thinking about small business owners and how much I've been admired. I mean, I've been admired by them maybe, but I've been inspired by them especially. And I thought, I've worked with so many business owners in the work that I do in consumer and business to business marketing. And I thought, I've been doing this small business on the side for a long time. I think it's time to make a pivot. So in July, I decided to take the plunge and decided to leave Google. It was a great 10 years. But in that time, I did a lot of different things. And one of the challenges I had was that people thought I was crazy. They're like, are you working on small business marketing? Are you working on YouTube? Are you working on this or that? Because in the tech world, most teams at Google, for example, are very product focused, but I was people focused. I was community focused. And so that meant I did things very differently. And I had to own it and just commit to my way of doing things, even though I was definitely going against the norm, against the grain, but the outcomes were impactful. And it made me feel like my hypothesis was valid, that we could make a difference, we can make an impact, and think of our audience collectively and how we can make a bigger movement around use of technology. And so when I left, I realized that's what I want to keep doing. I want to be able to do Tequila, but I needed more autonomy. I was ready to do more. And so the intro Pedro gave, thank you for that. It's the easiest way I can describe all the things I'm doing now, because I realized that I'm not a linear thinker, and I struggled for a long time trying to fit the norm and realize that this is my secret sauce. It's a superpower. There's a little bit of kryptonite sometimes when people don't understand it, but it's meant for my own discovery of what I love to do, which is I love coming up with ideas. I love launching products. I love launching all types of things. And so Element & Company is now my baby. That's all the things I've wanted it to be. So it includes a venture studio. So I work with small businesses and startups. I do 3 types of investing, both human capital, social, financial, and it means so much to me to help them activate their goals and dreams. We have production studio working on all types of things going on now with podcast content and different types of content, reimagining what it means to tell our own stories. And there's so much more I'm doing that now I don't feel so self-conscious of doing, because sometimes, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when you're in environments with a very specific role, doing things differently can sometimes seem a little controversial. And I was supported in doing it, but always had to stay true to my values of, I know that the way I'm doing things is creating an ecosystem for what I did before. And now I am too. And Alchemy is a part of that. And it's been really, really amazing to apply what I've learned in the tech industry to a tequila company, which is a small business, and merging my worlds has been so rewarding. And so I leave you with hopefully some words of encouragement that will resonate for you if you've ever wanted to start a side hustle. I consider myself a serial side hustler. I've been in this for years, and it's not always easy. It's late nights and weekends, but it's worth it. And the reason I am so passionate about this is because sometimes we have a vision, but people can't see your vision. And often they can't see it until there's something tangible. And so the way that I was able to do this over the last 10 years and beyond was starting off with an example, starting off with that pilot, that prototype, so that people could wrap their heads around what I was doing. So that when I seemed like I had all these ideas and all these things going on, I could help it make sense for people that didn't quite see what I was seeing yet. And so that to me has been the X factor for creating things that people can envision. And so I can't wait to hear if you're building something, if you've had dreams to pursue on the side. Just know that it's worth it. Even when people tell you it's a little like, why are you doing something risky, or why are you leaving your corporate job? We need you on the inside as leaders. We also need you pursuing your dreams. And I hope you'll do both.